Coming to you live from Lusaka City, this is Camnet TV main news. Let's take a look at the headlines. Load shedding to end this June, says government. Withdraw 15% tax suspension policy, CTPD. UPND reshuffles media team, establishes ministerial response team. In international news, UN reports sexual violence against children in Sudan's ongoing conflict. And in sports, under-17 midfielder eyes win against Tanzania. Join us for these and many more stories after this break. To present the main news, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Government says load shedding is likely to end by June 2025, given the improved water levels at the Kariba Dam as reported by Zambezi River Authority. Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwetwa adds that the government is also aware of challenges around the high cost of living and is working tirelessly to address the situation. Speaking at the media briefing, Mr. Mwetwa says the government had revealed various critical matters to adapt to the changing economic and social landscape as agriculture, mining, the cost of living, and the energy sector. He has since called for increased investment in the mining sector, stressing that it plays a vital role in the country's economy and people's livelihoods. Additionally, Mr. Mwetwa urged citizens to be prudent in utilizing public resources and warned against corruption.
Cabinet called for more investment, one, in the mining sector. We realize that we are well positioned as a country in terms of our natural and or mineral resource endowment, that we don't just have some or be one of the largest producers of critical minerals such as copper on the global stage, we also pay host to some of the rare and critical minerals of the future, such as lithium, such as uranium. The list goes on. Cabinet yesterday was unanimous in its resolution that given the attractive mining regime we have, we must do more as government and as a people to ensure more investments in this sector for more exploration and exploitation of our minerals for the good of our economy and the good for the improvement of the livelihoods of our people.
We now go to Northwestern Province, Solwezi in particular, where 3 employees of Solwezi Municipal Council have been arrested for alleged corrupt practices involving over 200,000 kwacha. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, says the trio engaged in a conflict of interest by supplying goods to the council through a company they secretly owned. According to ACC, the suspects, identified as Andrew Toms Mutobo, a senior health education officer, Inambao Muamei, a cleaning superintendent, and Mpomwa Sinkala, a health inspector, are accused of using their company, My Innovations Limited, to secure contracts worth 228,560 kwacha without declaring their interest. ACC says investigations have revealed that the alleged offences took place between January and October 2023. The 3 have since been released on bond and are expected to appear in court soon. The Republican Progressive Party, RPP, has condemned the opposition's alleged continued efforts to discredit the Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMSTATS, and politicize the findings of the 2022 Census of Population and Housing. In a statement availed to Camnet News, RPP President Leslie Chukuse described these actions as reckless and unwarranted. He urged opposition leaders to respect the professionalism and integrity of ZAMSTATS, emphasizing that the agency has played a vital role in shaping national policies and guiding developmental programs for many years.
As Republican Progressive Party, would like to condemn the gathering by some opposition political parties that went to create some propaganda that there was an attempt to tamper with census results in terms of the 2022 census results by creating falsehoods that there was an altercation between a department of government and ZAMSTAT. These allegations are unfounded, and I would like to put it on record that the ZAMSTAT is a professional institution and they have done their work independently without any disturbance. There's never been a time whatsoever when ZAMSTAT has been interfered with. These propaganda will not help the opposition. What they must focus on is how to really find ways of creating counter policies of how they are going to run government. If at all a miracle happened and they were given an opportunity to try and create some propaganda or to try and make some falsehood that there is an attempt to rig an election, if such an issue where elections could be rigged through a census were possible, our colleagues from the Patriotic Front, who were well known at such kind of machination, were going to still be in power. There's nothing like that. There's no rigging. There's nothing. Elections are won in the ballot box.
And now we go to Chongwe, where government has called on traditional leaders and their subjects to desist from withdrawing cases from the Zambia police. Speaking at the 2025 Police Open Day celebrations in Chongwe, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu says Most chiefdoms have a tendency of withdrawing criminal cases from the police, a practice that derails the job of the service. Mr. Mwimbu says the community should collaborate with the police to ensure safety and security at all times, noting that criminals come from communities. He has also urged police officers to fish out bad eggs in the service, as the police profession is a key element in maintaining law and order in the country. This year's Police Day was held under the theme Enhancing Crime Prevention through Community Participation for a Secure and Peaceful Environment.
I'm happy to know that we have our Royal Highness here, Chief Munda, and the representative of Senior Chieftainess Commission. I would like to make a specific plea over this issue of livestock theft. I'm aware of what happened when the police arrest one of your children, nieces or nephews. You, the subject of Senior Chieftainess in Commercial and other chieftains, you appeal to the police and request that these matters be settled at home. As a result, matters are withdrawn from the police with a view to settle and compensate the owners of the livestock that have been stolen. Your Royal Highness, if we continue with that practice, we will not curtail cattle rustling. You will continue blaming the police, when in actual fact, us as a community, we are playing a role in these activities. Let's ensure that we do not allow the withdrawing of cases from the Zambia Police Service. Ladies and gentlemen, the police require the support of various stakeholders, including government institutions, civil society organizations, business communities, traditional and religious leaders. By working together, we can develop innovative crime prevention strategies, improve intelligence gathering, and strengthen our justice system.
In health news now, where Minister of Health Dr. Elijah Mchima says the recent recall of lumefantrine, an anti-malarial drug, was prompted by concerns over its quality standards. Delivering a ministerial statement to Parliament, Dr. Mchima explained that the drug was found to contain insufficient amount of active ingredients, falling below the acceptable threshold of 90% to 110%. He added that laboratory tests revealed that the product only contained 70.1% of the required active ingredient, necessitating its removal from the market. The minister emphasized that the recall was a precautionary measure aimed at safeguarding public health by preventing the distribution of substandard medication.
Of India, the product was imported and distributed by Sharina Pharmaceuticals in Zambia. During the routine post-marketing surveillance activities, the product in question was sampled from a registered private farmer's outlet in the Rundazi district and analyzed at the Zambra National Drug Quality Control Laboratory in Lusaka, where the product was found to be non-compliant with respect to the assay test. This finding means that the product had a low amount of active ingredient. According to the International Pharmacopoeia, the acceptance criteria for the assay for the product ranges between 90% to 110%. In this instance, the product assay was found at an average of 79.1 in respect of artimeta, which fell below the acceptable or acceptance criteria, and therefore it should be withdrawn from the market. Madam Speaker, concerning the effect of the product on the children, the product in question was only non-compliant with the assay test. The test determines strength or content of the active pharmaceutical ingredient in a product. In other words, in this case, the product contained less of the active ingredient than the required amount. All other test parameters were compliant. However, as a precautionary measure to a potential non-response to a treatment, the product had to be recalled from the market.
In political news, the United Party for National Development, UPND, has announced changes to its media team, appointing Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts as the party's new deputy spokesperson. Speaking at the press briefing, UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa also confirmed the appointment of Max Mue as media director, with former UPND Secretary General Situla Sikwindi serving as deputy media director. Additionally, Oliver Shalala has been named media consultant. Mr. Mwetwa emphasized that the new team will work alongside the outgoing members to ensure a smooth transition. The restructuring is part of the party's broader strategy to enhance communication efforts and effectively convey developments in the party to the public. The minister further stated that government has established a ministerial team comprising of key cabinet ministers, including Minister of Health, Dr. Elijah Muchima, Minister of Mines, Paul Kabuswe, and Minister of Community Development, Doreen Mwamba. The team will play a critical role in communicating government policies and engaging with the media as needed.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, has unveiled a new media team, making a significant shift in the party's communication strategy. According to UPND spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa, the new team will work alongside the outgoing team to ensure a seamless transition.
From now on, the party here unveils and introduces to the media and the nation the new media director of the UPND, Mr. Mark Simue. You can clap for him. So Mr. Mark Simue is no longer a media consultant of the UPND. He is now the media director of the UPND, and he will be assisted by Mr. Stula Squint.
Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts Elvis Nkandu has been appointed as deputy spokesperson, while Max Simue takes on the role of media director, assisted by Situla Sikwindi. Oliver Shalala has been appointed as media consultant. The UPND has also established a ministerial media team comprising cabinet ministers including Dr. Elijah Muchima, Paul Kabuswe, Emmanuel Chupokamlenga, Doreen Mwamba, and Frank Tayari. He says the team will be responsible for communicating government policies and participating in various media programs as needed. Mwetwa emphasized the importance of adopting a new culture of politics that promotes constructive dialogue and national building rather than funding anarch activities. He urged the opposition to join the UPND in promoting this new culture, which prioritizes the well-being of the nation and its citizens.
A ministerial media team has been set up, and these ministers, their job is to articulate government policy generally, not restricting themselves to their line ministry. So that when you want government policy, you don't just have to reach out to the government chief government spokesperson.
Meanwhile, Elvis Nkandu, the newly appointed deputy party spokesperson for the United Party for National Development, UPND, has expressed his gratitude to President Hakainde Hichilema for entrusting him with this new role. Nkandu, who currently serves as Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts, acknowledges the president's confidence in him and pledges to work diligently in his new position.
To thank the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who is also our president of the party for his recognition that I should also play a role in making our Zambian people understand what the party is doing and what it intends to do. I'm very excited first to work closely with the Honorable Mwetwa, whom I admire so much. So I believe that what the president has done and what the party has done, just to add more firepower to what you people do expect.
Miriam Kansenga for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, has called on government to reverse its decision to suspend the 15% export tax on gemstones and precious metals. CTPD Research Associate Extractives Dr. Stephen Kambani says the suspension undermines the country's ability to fully capitalize on its mineral resources and hinders efforts to foster value addition within the mining sector. Mr. Kambani emphasizes that the consistent application of export taxes is essential to stimulate investment in local value addition and enhance revenue generation for Zambia's economic development. He adds that the taxes are a crucial source of government revenue, funding vital sectors such as health, education, defense, and infrastructure. The primary aim of any mining tax system is to maximize public benefits while encouraging continued investment in the sector.
Essentially, the center observes that mining taxes are an important source of government revenue, and that the ultimate goal of any government's mining tax system is to ensure the greatest possible benefit for the public while simultaneously encouraging investment in the sector. Obviously, short-term high tax rates may increase government revenues, but will eventually discourage future investment with corresponding decline in tax revenue. Given that mining is a wasting asset, that is, the resource is non-renewable, a responsible government does not have the luxury of postponing or giving tax waivers to a mining company because this has the potential to severely undermine benefits that may accrue from the sector. And for a mineral-dependent country like Zambia, whose main source of export revenues are minerals, capturing these taxes is a matter of survival for the country's national economy. It is also important to note that how taxes are raised and spent has the potential to undermine a government's very legitimacy. Therefore, the government's strategy should be to maximize revenues from the mining sector over time. Achieving this requires realistic consideration and a careful balancing of objectives of the two key players, which are companies, mining companies, and governments. The Center observes that maintaining a stable tax policy environment is a precondition for a predictable investment climate, which is good to both the government and the mining companies. However, the Center notes that the recent demands by gemstone mining companies to remove the 15% export tax is extremely unreasonable.
Government says it is committed to improving business regulatory environment by aligning regulatory legislation to international standards. Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry Director, Domestic Trade and Commerce, Margaret Monga, says this is being done by reviewing the Companies Act, which will in turn help improve business practices. Speaking during a stakeholders consultative workshop for data users on the Companies Amendment Bill 2025 in Lusaka today, Mrs. Monga noted that amendments of the Companies Act is also aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability. And PACRA Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Benson Mpalo noted that the bill aims at addressing a few critical issues in the Companies Act, among them enhancing provision relating to disclosure of beneficial ownership information.
Patents and Companies Registration Agency PACRA and Open Ownership Foundation Tuesday morning held a stakeholder meeting for data users on the Companies Amendment Bill of 2025. Speaking at the event, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Director for Domestic Trade and Commerce, Margaret Monga, says the amendment of the bill will promote accountability and create a sustainable business environment for all. Ms. Monga, who represented the ministry's permanent secretary, notes that increased accountability and transparency should be extended to the business environment's legislation and urged participants to effectively participate in developing a law that will help government regulate them.
That have gone past what we are currently using as the law. And you people sitting in here know the good business practice that we're supposed to be doing. And therefore, it is important that at this very time, we look at what we have in terms of managing our businesses, in terms of how we can enhance transparency and accountability in the way we do our business by ensuring that we relook at the law that we're using and see what we can do to improve it and bring it to the international standard.
And PACRA Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Benson Palo says the amendment looks at introducing new measures intended to enhance compliance with a minimum number of shareholders or directors. The PACRA CEO adds that if granted authority by the Ministry of Justice, the agency will upload the bill on the website for a diverse audience to weigh in.
That aims to improve the regulatory framework for companies in Zambia. The bill seeks to address a few critical issues in our Companies Act. And key among these issues are as follows. Firstly, we want to enhance provisions in the Companies Act relating to disclosure of beneficial ownership information. Secondly, we want to introduce new measures intended to enhance compliance with the minimum number of shareholders or directors and the minimum prescribed share capital. Thirdly,
meanwhile, Open Ownership Senior Regional Manager for Africa, Favor Ime, said her organization believes that public registers of beneficial ownership provide high-quality data about who owns and benefits from information. Ms. Ime stated that transparency is not just a legal or international standard requirement, but a shared responsibility.
Hear from everyone in this room, the external stakeholders. And this, I think, is an opportunity to ensure that the reforms under discussion are not only robust in principle, but also practical, user-friendly, and responsive to the needs of those who will rely on them. Now, at Open Ownership, the organization I work for, we believe that information on the true owners of companies is an essential pillar of a well-functioning economy and society.
The gathering held aimed at getting feedback of proposed amendments to the Companies Act from data users. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Red Cross Society has expressed interest in formalizing a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services to enhance collaboration in humanitarian support and crisis response. The proposed MOU aims to strengthen social protection efforts, improve emergency response mechanisms, and expand outreach to vulnerable communities. During a courtesy call, the ministry, represented by Director of Planning and Information, Patrick Jolwe, reaffirmed its commitment to enhancing the impact of social protection interventions through strategic partnerships. He said the initiative aligns with the government's ongoing efforts to improve disaster response, particularly in addressing emergencies such as droughts. Meanwhile, Red Cross Society Secretary General Cosma Sakala acknowledged the government's commitment to disaster response and emphasized the need for a more structured and systematic approach to reaching affected communities. The society aims to expand its outreach to additional districts, with the MOU serving as a foundation for strengthened cooperation in disaster preparedness, emergency response and long-term social support programs in alignment with the national development agenda. Psychologist Portrine Muzumba has commended the government for providing counseling services through CHINAMA and the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, which also educates and rehabilitates substance abusers. In an interview, Ms. Muzumba, however, notes that Zambia lacks enough mental health facilities, with only one government institution, CHINAMA, serving the entire population. She says the country needs more professionals to handle rising substance abuse cases. Ms. Muzumba has urged the government to employ more mental health workers. She stressed that many people struggling with addiction need proper counseling and rehabilitation. She has further called upon the government for mental health departments in all hospitals instead of waiting to build new facilities. She has also emphasized the need for urgent investment in mental health services to ensure timely support for those in need.
It's true that government has been intervening in that area, but manpower is, we are understaffed, yes, because we only have one government institution, like I mentioned, against the entire Zambian population. And when we look at this national crisis of substance abuse and alcohol addiction in Zambia, it's really rampant, and cases are rising on a daily basis. At this point in time, drugs are abused even by learners. It's not only by the junkies or the people that are on the streets. Even the learners in the school, as early as grade 4, as early as grade 3, are abusing these substances. And this is a national crisis which has to be addressed with immediate effect. What can the government do in order to address this national crisis? I think one of the ways is for the government to prioritize employing mental health professionals in mental health institutions. Even at CHINAMA, you will agree with me, or those that work there can agree with me, that the staff that are providing these services, the ratios of a therapist-client ratio do not match, as the staff or the members of staff offering these services are understaffed compared to the number of the patients or the people that they have to see on a daily basis.
We now go to Western Province, where Deputy Permanent Secretary Richard Mulwanda has expressed worry over the increased number of junkie attacks despite police efforts. Speaking at the Police Open Day celebrations, Mr. Mulwanda says there was need for urgent collaborative actions from both the police and the community to prevent crimes in the province. He says as the country heads to a pause next year, it was important that police officers remain vigilant in fighting crimes in the area. Mr. Mulwanda reaffirmed his commitment towards the fight against criminality in the province. Musia Wakabila now reports.
Looking beautiful.
The Zambia Police Service in Mongo District of Western Province joined the rest of the nation in hosting its annual Police Open Day, which falls on 4th March. Western Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Richard Mulwanda officiated the event and has this to say.
We have enjoyed the peace. Peace is very expensive, and we always guard it jealously. Your effort in combating crime cannot be ignored, especially that you have a huge task of maintaining peace and tranquility. This has come at a time when all the Zambian citizenry are yearning for your assurance, commitment, and impartiality in executing your duty. I also appreciate the role that the members of the public play in helping to combat crime. They provide the information to make it easier for you to work.
Speaking earlier, Western Province Police Commissioner David Tireshe said the aim of the event is to promote community involvement in crime prevention.
Zambia Police Service Day, whose theme
is enhancing crime prevention through community participation for a secure and peaceful environment. The highlights of the Police Day celebration will be characterized by conferring of medals, which we have just witnessed, on deserving police officers in the categories of long service, meritorious, and bravery. We pledge to continue serving our citizens by ensuring that law and order prevails in our communities at all times.
Meanwhile, Barro's Royal Establishment representative Induna Namuyamba says BRE pledges to continue working with the police to curb junkies in the province. And also, Western Province Deputy Police Division Chaplain Inspector Mundaungo added a voice.
And every day as citizens we step forward to say to our neighbors, let's pray for our police officers for wisdom, patience, strength. Let us also commit ourselves of being active participants in crime prevention.
And this year's Police Open Day was celebrated under the theme Enhancing Crime Prevention through Community Participation for Secure and Peaceful Environment. Musevo Kabira, Camnet News in Mungu District, Western Province.
From Mungu and back to Lusaka, where government has kicked off the 2025 International Business Exchange Hybrid Conference themed Redefining Diaspora, Connecting Businesses and Unlocking Zambia's Economic Potential. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Mulambo Haimbe says the conference aims to foster collaboration between investors, local entrepreneurs and government agencies to drive sustainable economic growth. He says the World Bank remittances to Sub-Saharan Africa reached $54 billion in 2023, with Zambia receiving an estimated $350 million annually from the diaspora. He adds that the diaspora drives investment, transfers knowledge, fosters entrepreneurship, and sparks innovation, contributing significantly to national development.
The 2025 conference provides an unparalleled opportunity to deepen partnerships between diaspora investments and local entrepreneurs, as well as international stakeholders and government agencies. As we engage in critical discussion through this conference, I urge all participants to focus on facilitating diaspora investment, empowering SMEs for economic growth, and promoting youth and women entrepreneurship. I have been informed, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, that plans are underway to host IBEX 2026 in the United States of America. This will serve as another major opportunity to attract global investors, strengthen economic ties, and position Zambia on the world.
And that particular story takes us to our first set of commercials, but do join us for international and sports news when we come back. Stay tuned.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms, Camnet TV, not just another channel. Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, midday news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days in forgotten stories. We emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Welcome back and thank you so much for still joining us. And now in international news. The United Nations has reported that sexual violence against children is being systematically used as a tactic in the ongoing conflict in Sudan, placing millions of children at extreme risk. A recent report by UNICEF reviews harrowing cases of children, some as young as 1 year old, being subjected to rape across 9 states in Sudan. As of early 2024, at least 221 children, including boys, have been identified as victims of this atrocity carried out by armed groups. These figures were compiled by gender-based violence service providers operating in the region, underscoring the severe impact of the conflict on the country's most vulnerable population. The conflict, which erupted in April 2023 between Sudan's military and the paramilitary rapid support forces, has resulted in over 20,000 deaths, though actual figures are believed to be more higher. More than 14 million people have been displaced, with famine spreading across various parts of the country. Here's a roundup of international news.
Pope Francis was recuperating on Tuesday morning from 2 episodes of acute respiratory distress, requiring a return to non-invasive mechanical ventilation. The Vatican explained that these episodes were triggered by a significant accumulation of mucus in his lungs and bronchial spasms. 2 bronchoscopies were conducted to clear the excessive secretions. Despite these challenges, Pope Francis remained alert and engaged with his medical team. The prognosis is still cautious, indicating that he is not yet out of danger. A reference to the crisis episodes have passed. Pope Francis was up and receiving therapy on Monday after apparently overcoming a setback in his recovery from pneumonia. The 88-year-old pontiff was admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital on February 14th for bronchitis and diagnostic tests. In a shocking report, the United Nations Children's Agency has revealed that children as young as 1 year old have been victims of rape across 9 states in Sudan.
Thank you, Mohammed.
UNICEF announced on Tuesday that since the start of 2024, 221 children, including boys, have been assaulted by armed individuals based on data collected by gender-based violence service provider in the region.
Data that we have from service providers in Sudan shows us that this is widespread. It has occurred in 9 states, just these 221 rape cases alone, 9 states across the country, including Gadaref, Kassala, Al Jazeera, the Northern State, the River Nile, Khartoum, South Kordofan, and 2 of the Darfur states. And I think this is an example of the fact that this is being used as a weapon of war in Sudan by all parties to the conflict, and no woman or child is safe.
UNICEF has documented instances of 61,800 internally displaced and raped children during assaults on urban areas. The conflict in Sudan, triggered by the military and rapid support forces, has exacerbated the country's humanitarian crisis.
Widespread demonstrations have rocked security in Kakuma refugee camp in northwestern Kenya on Monday, with police firing live bullets and injuring at least 4 protesters, according to local media. The protests erupted over food and water shortages in the camp. They come as humanitarian aid in Kenya has been reduced following funding cuts from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. The camp, which is one of the largest in the world, is home to around 200,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Since Donald Trump became US president, now Kenyans have shifted all the blame on him. Workers are not getting paid, and it's blamed on Trump. No medication in hospital. It's Trump. Now we have to pay for school fees, and it's Trump. Everything is Trump. We're tired of Trump. So if Trump can hear us, we're getting humiliated here because of him. So let him stop that and release our things so that we can stop being humiliated. This is for others and oil. This is used. This is the equivalent for 1 month of food when you eat. We don't have other income somewhere. It's only this. Is this enough for you? Imagine if you think that there's not enough, then please help us for this. This condition has affected us for so long. Without alternative sources of funding, there are concerns that the situation in the camp could spiral further out of control.
And finally, in sports news this evening, Zambia Under-17's national team midfielder Jessica Jolwe Johnson has emphasized the significance of securing a strong result against Tanzania in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup second round qualifier on March 9th. The return leg is set to take place in Ndola on March 15th. The team is currently engaged in active training, focusing on refining their skills and tactical strategies in preparation for the crucial match. The players are determined to give their best performance to secure a positive outcome and advance in the competition.
This team is very hard working. It's tough. Need to work hard in this team to win, obviously. It's hard competition to be in this top 25, so yeah, just need to keep working hard. It's very tough, very physical. It's hard to get into the top 25, so it's quite a privilege to be here. It's very important, obviously, for us and for the country to represent, to win. It's just the feeling as well of winning. It's great. I think concentration's a big thing because obviously we're flying over. We still need to be concentrated. It's not our home ground, so we just need to play. We need to play as a team. We need to work 1-2s, get past their players, obviously be on target, score, keep bringing it because we love it. It cheers us up, makes us excited, so yeah.
On that sporting item, we come to the end of this edition of the main news on Camnet TV. But before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. Load shedding to end this June, says government. Withdraw 15% tax suspension policy, CTPD. UPND reshuffles media team, establishes ministerial response team. In international news, UN reports sexual violence against children in Sudan's ongoing conflict. And in sports, under-17 midfielder eyes win against Tanzania. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 8. It reads, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That ends the reading and that ends the main news bulletin. But dear viewer, do remember, like always, that Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now, on behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.